Friday! Oh, yeah! Ha ha! All right, brothers and sisters. We've made it all the way to Friday. What's up, Internet? What's going on? How you doing? Let me see if I can just go ahead and drink this whole jar of coffee during the show. And by the way, if anybody is wondering, I do like my sugar with coffee and cream. I believe that was MCA who said that originally, of the Beatsy Boys. Yes, I do like mine with sugar and cream, you know, unless I'm in the woods, and then I'll drink it black. But you know what? I feel like when I'm in society, you know, I get to reap the benefits of society a little creamer. Maybe it's almond milk. Maybe it's almond milk derived creamer. Maybe it's a hemp milk. Maybe it's a regular dairy milk. Hey, I'm down. I'm down for all them good things. You know what I'm saying? So, happy Friday. I hope you got your coffee like I do, just lock, stock, and ready to go, and ready for an exciting Friday. Because it is an astoundingly exciting Friday of yammering into a microphone, you guys. It's just me talking to you and letting you guys know what's up and what's going on. Woo! I know most people missed a Wednesday show. I don't know why, but, you know, I did something that made the algorithm mad, I think. You know, I did probably click some buttons or something, and they were like, hey, we're not going to send out the notifications to anybody. Why would we do that? Why would we send out the notifications, everybody? You know, like, why would we do that? Oh, you know, who knows? But Wednesday was the return show from Europe. If you guys have any idea what I'm talking about, I'll try to recap it real quickly for those of you that missed it. And those of you that didn't miss it, I will try to be quick. But we went to Germany. We went to Austria, right? Put another shrimp on the Barbie. Austria, right? Schwarzenegger and barbecued shrimp, right? I joke. And Hungary. Specifically, Budapest. Big shout out to Green Aqua out there in Budapest. Hey, you know, if you guys haven't seen Green Aqua, check out the YouTube channel. They got some dope videos on there that I have to admit, awesome, good quality stuff. Not to mention even just the store itself is as good looking as the videos and stuff. Fantastic, amazing store, and amazing people. They actually stayed open late for us so we could come in there and do a tour and check stuff out. Obviously, I will be making a video out of that. The editing process has begun, so just bear with me, because it will take time for that kind of stuff to get figured out, finalized, and all that kind of stuff. But there will be a bunch of videos from this trip. And if anybody's wondering, how is it that we were so lucky to be able to go to Europe? And I will say it was thanks to the one and only Dennerla, which is a company that does, it's an aquatic company. Well, how do you explain this? How do I explain that? They're, you know, they do filtration, substrates, tanks, plants, all that kind of crazy stuff. They have been in the business for 50 years. 50 years. And a ton of experience, amazing facilities and stuff. I can't wait to get that stuff edited out to you, so you guys can be able to check that out. It is a lot of footage. I have hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of footage to go through. And to be honest with you guys, Wednesday I was so jet lagged and stuff that I kind of was just organizing the videos and stuff, and just like moving through molasses. Like everything I was doing was taking 10 times longer than I normally do, and just like, wait, what part happened? Did I get that thing? Did I get that thing done? Wait, what's this? Oh, there's some papers here. I don't, you know, everything I was doing was like that. So it was definitely just a bit of a process to even just get all the video offloaded in some kind of way that makes sense. But the reason I was talking about that is the facilities at Dennerla. I'm telling you, I have hours and hours and hours of footage from being there. They were lovely hosts. We also went to Aquarium Dietzenbach. We went to, oh, you guys, I'm having a brain fart. What's the other wholesaler there? Oh, no. I'm going to feel completely bad because I've forgotten. I've 100% just forgotten what is the name of that place? I don't know. Anyhow, instead of, you know, crashing the stream into a wall, I'm just going to say we went to a bunch of wholesalers. You know, like I said, Aquarium Dietzenbach comes to mind. And one of the reasons I wanted to mention Aquarium Dietzenbach, they've kind of, with air quotes, been in the news lately. And I think for the best reasons possible that you could ever think of. And that's the Scoot and Fruity Puffers, the Scodentai, I can never say it right. Scodentai, I don't know. So that's why I call them Scoot and Fruity Puffers. The Congo Puffer, you know, Corey and myself were super lucky to be able to go check the breeding room, okay? And it is no joke. It is not some kind of, you know, they're not pulling the wool over your eyes. They're not trying to trick anybody. They literally are breeding the Scoot and Fruity Puffers. And I saw a post about it on Facebook. Somebody forwarded it to me the other day, and I was like, oh, no, that's real. Like, oh, and there's Aquarium Co-op. There's Corby. There's Colby Jack himself. He's in the chat, so be sure to bug him a lot. Aquarium Glasser. Yes, that's the other place we went to. Total brain fart there. Sorry about that to those guys, because that place was awesome, too. I forgot to turn the audio off over here. Sorry, I had to turn the audio off over on the other computer because, I don't know, some death metal might have turned on or something. Although I haven't really been listening to the dark metal recently. I've been listening to a lot of bluesy metal, mainly inspired by, I guess, two bands. Two bands, I would say, have inspired the blues metal groove that I'm always in. And one of them would be Clutch. If you guys don't know who Clutch is and you like rock music, you should check that out. The other one would be Mastodon's new LP, EP. I always get those confused. It's like only 4 tracks. What is that? Is that an LP or an EP? Is that an EP? I think it's an EP. I'm not. You know, I don't know. What do I know? What do I know? I'm just some guy. Anyhow, it's just a 4-track record, but it's mind-bending. I love it, and I'm loving the more and more bands out there that are taking the blues and they're mixing it with the metal and they're bringing that goodness. I mean, like the Black Keys kind of come to mind. Maybe it's not metal, but it's like rock blues, you know, that kind of stuff. I'm definitely into it of late. Although I will say the thing that hit the news today that was kind of cracking me up. Did you guys notice that Eminem apparently just self-released his own album just into the ether? like I'm pretty sure they just put it up like on YouTube or something. I'm not sure. It's like it's released, but it's not. I don't know. And you know, maybe you're not a fan of Eminem or whatever. And that that's not what I want to talk about. But what I wanted to talk about was like, how awesome is it that, you know, I guess how would I be wanting to put that? Somebody that's at the top of their game, like the tippity top could make $1 billion or something, is just releasing their art now, which is like, how crazy is that? Like, that's just how much the world is changing just because of stuff like the internet and stuff. It's like it's just changing because you can actually just put out your art, you know what I mean? And it's actually like a viable thing now. How crazy is that? I don't know if it's single-handedly because of YouTube, but I think that's got to be a big part of it. I think that's got to definitely, that's definitely got to be a big part of it. You know, is that if he just put all the tracks up onto YouTube and he knows he's going to get 100 million views, it's kind of like, whatever, man. It's good, right? Oh. But I think that's interesting. You know what I mean? That's just an interesting thing to me. Oh, what's going on here? Hold on. I'm getting a bunch of emails here. Other new conversation. What is this? I don't know, man. My email provider has completely changed the inbox around. Is that annoying to anybody or what? Like now there's focused and other or whatever. I don't know, man. Why do I gotta have like a bunch of inboxes? How's this? How's that making it easier? Oh, the notification is less patronizers. Oh man, I'll admit it. I was looking at the Patreon, the patronizers today because it sends out the notification that it's the 31st, and I noticed there's like we're down like 80 patrons. So I guess like that's not good, right? I don't know. It just seems like that must not be good, right? I must be doing something wrong. But either way, I'm just gonna keep forging forward. You know what I mean? I just gotta keep doing what I gotta do. Like go to Minnesota, which is gonna be exciting. I think that's gonna be fun. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun, especially because I think Jimmy's gonna be there too, and I'm excited to hear some of these Hawaii stories that dude was doing, and speaking of Hawaii stories, I am glad to hear that most people that I heard from in Hawaii, most everything was fine. We got some family and people out there and stuff like that. And from my understanding, what I heard is that most everybody was okay from the hurricane, and it wasn't that big of a deal. So I'm glad to have heard that. Dan Squires just posted a thing saying, get Joel and Vicky something for the baby. Yes, that is our baby registry. We do have a baby coming. I guess the reason I was trying to bring up the Ever Forward thing earlier, or just a second ago, was because it pertains to the, yes, my life is moving ever forward. Early on in the chat, shoot, I don't want to misquote anybody, but I think it was Ed. I think it was Ed's Fish that was saying like it's pretty awesome to see how we're able to like go around and do the thing that we're really passionate about, and that's that's like planet aquariums, ecosystems, fish, shrimp, even saltwater tanks, all that kind of stuff. Let me see. Yeah, Ed's Fish says, man, that has to be awesome to travel all over learning and teaching about your passion. That's life goals. Yeah, and, I had to point out that, this has been at least a 10-year process. I wish I could say that it was just like, oh, I just rolled out of bed, brothers. There realistically has been no secrets. I don't really have any secrets. It's just a massive amount of research, trial and error, and just kind of just moving forward. Obviously, I've gone through a lot of big changes in my life. Being sober now, I got a baby on the way, I got a ton of things going on that, but it also has been, a 10, 12-year process of an idea that was pushed into my, I don't know how you say it. Like, I guess pushed into my consciousness, like brought to my attention, I guess. Like, 10, 12 years ago. I can't really put a date on it because back then I was a little bit crazier and much younger and living a wild life, right? But 10, 12 years ago, my friend brought to me some Takahashi Amano books, and then he was going like, yeah, there's like people that are building these little aquariums and they're putting plants in them, you know. And I do realize that having gone to Europe, it's like it's been normal for so many years there to just have plants growing and grow your aquarium that way for so many years. Like Dennerla, they've been doing it for 50 years, you know, that maybe not planted exactly for 50 years, but the infrastructure and everything they have in place was not overnight. But, you know, that idea that was brought to me 10, 12 years ago, and I was like, that's what renewed my interest in aquariums and the systems. And as you guys know, I was a chef for a really long time, so I was pretty heavily invested in researching and developing and building relationships with, I guess, the agricultural suppliers. That's probably a good way to put it. So whether it's farmers, dairy farmers, you know, produce farmers, any of those kinds of stuff. But, you know, developing recipes and all that kind of stuff, and developing relationships with, you know, local suppliers and stuff like that. I was always researching a lot of agriculture, and I kind of combined those two and just kind of went off in this direction and went, you know, and especially, you know, to be brutally honest with you, Takahashi Amano was the guy that I looked at and I went, wait a minute, this guy gets to take pictures, publish books, and scape, like, aquascape tanks? Like, that's the thing? Like, that's what he does? Like, what do you mean? That's a job? Are you kidding me? You know, and realistically, that guy is the forerunner. I mean, there might be somebody else, and I'm just ignorant of knowing who that is. There might be somebody else, and I just don't know who it is. But, you know, that just really, you know, that really is, I think, the guy, you know what I mean, where you just kind of go like, wait a minute, that's actually something that you could do, you know. And I kind of equate it to, you know, I don't know, I guess like a musician doesn't really count. I don't know what I equate it to. Maybe like a painter or something. Like, you know, people didn't think you could just like squish paint onto a canvas and then like turn that into a gig, you know what I mean, until, I don't know, 1600s or 1500s or something like that. I don't know when that became a profession, but it probably was somewhere 1400s, maybe, something like that. I don't know. Quinn Mallory checking in says, wish I could stick around, but the dinner rush is starting to come. All right, well, dinner rush waits for no man, and if you're a chef, ignoring the dinner rush is a bad idea, because it will just pile up and be a complete disaster. So be sure to always take care of your job, you know what I'm saying? Let's see, Nick's Fish Room says, my dad had heavily planted tanks in Germany back in the 30s. Well, there you go. So maybe it was going on this whole time, and we just didn't know about it. You know? Who knows? I don't know, but that's my experience. My experience was at the time, you know, 10, 12 years ago, I got exposed to the idea that, like, wow, man, you could have these little ecosystems that was the big thing, was that the ecosystem would kind of feed off of itself, right? You know, is that, you know, you feed the fish poop, the poop feeds the plants, then the cycle keeps going, you know what I mean? So that was the thing that really entranced me with, like, wait a minute, how much could you do with this? And then, of course, you know, a lot of the water gardeners that I knew in the past were, you know, those kinds of guys that were hanging out in their basement, growing tomato plants. You know, they were hydroponically growing tomato plants, just in case there was like a tomato shortage or something. I don't know if anybody gets what I'm talking about. Wink, wink, wink. You know, so you know, I dealt with a lot of those guys, and definitely spent a lot of time learning from those dudes about you know, growing tomatoes and those kinds of things, and realizing just how much goes into the water chemistry and that kind of stuff. And then realizing that, you know, those tomato growers, if those dudes could figure it out, then I think most people would be able to figure it out. And that's, you know, one of the things that really inspired me to, you know, and my first step was I was really heavily involved in the forums and stuff like that, and I never really thought that video or film or you know, the film production or anything like that was ever going to be a thing that I was going to get heavily involved in. And you know, I'm happy to say that at this point, I don't know if the sky's the limit. That might not be a reasonable equation of you know, where I'm at this point. Realistically, yeah, I don't think necessarily the sky's the limit, but I'm definitely getting to that point where it's at least encouraging, even when it's discouraging, right? I would say that's where I'm at. I would say that that's where I'm at right now, is that like it's encouraging even when I'm feeling discouraged. The last couple days have been very emotional for me. A good friend of mine is very ill and is across the country, and there really isn't anything I can do about it. And it's been very emotional for me, and I'm just kind of hoping for the best. And it just kind of brought me back to like, all right, I need to just evaluate like a lot of the good things that are around me. A lot of the things around me are awesome, and it's a big thing. It's a big deal. And you know, I'm not so proud to not admit that I haven't been crying a lot, because I have been. It's very upsetting. It's a very important person to me, and you know, it just breaks my heart to see him in the hospital, and it's been, you know, but I'm at the point now where I have a lot of good things around me, and so I'm just staying motivated with that and stuff. So it's going, most everything's going pretty well. Our baby so far is healthy, all that kind of stuff. You know, as Candy says in the chat here, Caleb, our #1 fan, is doing pretty well, and yesterday was his birthday, making the 8 years old, and so there's a lot of good stuff going on, and so I just have to remember that stuff, you know, and that's the thing. You know, I'm at the point now where it's like it's more encouraging than discouraging, even when I'm really feeling bad and kind of depressed and stuff like that. It's not so I think it's pretty good. But I got a couple super chats are piling up here. I got to answer some of these. Patrick Kimbrell was asking, what different types of freshwater gobies can I put together? I love those little dudes. Personally, if I was going to do freshwater gobies, I wouldn't intermix species, because some of them need like temporary brackish to spawn and kind of specific temperatures, and they will get territorial with each other. But there are a lot of fish that you can pair with a blenny tank. So personally, what I would do is I would figure out what kinds of you know, what species of blenny you want to get, and then set kind of a specific tank for them, and then get some additional tank mates for them. That's personally what I would do. I wouldn't want to be intermixing the species and stuff like that. Like I said, it can cause territorial problems and things like that. That, you know, I mean, it's, you know, you could have the battle of the blennies going on. As far as the saltwater blennies go, you're pretty much like dump as many in there as will entertain you, pretty much, because they are more. They're either more isolated, or they will move around more than the freshwater versions. You know, realistically, although one of the issues that you will run into is the saltwater blennies. There's something like 2,000 different types, so it's very confusing. HC Aqua is asking, what is the difference between gobies and blennies? They're just they're different familia. You know, they're kind of similar personality-wise. A lot of them look kind of the same and stuff like that. Gobies, there are, I think, 8,000 different varieties or something crazy like that. So, but I will have to admit, my Kleiner Prince blenny is one of my favorite fish of all time. He's in the reef tank, and we will get some highlight film of him fairly soon because we're going to be rescaping the reef tank. We're not going to be rescaping, we're going to be retanking the reef tank. So the 180 that is the reef right now is actually going to be coming down and going into the 60 cube. And hopefully that's happening over this weekend because the stand is all built, all that stuff is ready to go. But I have hired a friend of mine, which I'll see if he wants to be known, whether or not he's helping out. I didn't ask him ahead of time, so I'm not gonna spoil it and say who it is. But I've hired a buddy who's gonna come up and help me over the weekend because I need somebody on the other end. Can't do everything by myself. That's crazy, and I can't assume that I'm gonna be able to do everything by myself. So. Hired a buddy to come up and help this weekend. We got kind of a 3-day opportunity here before I head back out of town. And so we're going to try and get as much of that done as we can. And but like I said, you know, as far as the freshwater blennies, I would just keep it specific, species specific per little tank. And then consider if you're going into the collectoritis kind of situation to kind of just be setting up individual tanks for them and move along that way and see if you really want to sign up for a ton of different kinds. But to be honest with you, they're really entertaining fish and they're a lot of fun to have. So I would certainly it's definitely a fish on the list that I would recommend to pretty much anybody because they are really cool and very active and stuff like that. So, woo! What do we got here? We've got a $5 super chat from M Howie 9. Oh, well, thanks, M Howie. He just says throwing it in the tip jar. He's throwing it in the tip jar. Patrick, hopefully I answered your question for you. I'm sorry that you got upset earlier that I didn't answer it immediately. You know, super chats are a way that things get answered. I don't necessarily respond to them within 5 seconds of them coming up. I apologize for that, but that's just not the format of the show here. I do appreciate your guys' super chats and everything, but that's not necessarily like the goal here is not to just be like, hey, we need super chats. Because realistically, the goal here, I mean, if I'm talking straight, the goal here is to fund the Patreon, and then everybody just knows exactly what's going on. And everybody can go look at the Patreon. Everybody can know what's going on the Patreon and be like, oh, okay. You know, so as far as I'm concerned, like, the super chats are awesome. It's a great feature and all that kind of stuff, but it kind of is what it is. And my show's kind of a stream of consciousness. I definitely talk about the stuff that's going on, and I do have a tendency to get distracted, that's for sure. We got a $20 super chat from your man, Kohlrabi. Mr. Kohlrabi Cordova from the Aquarium Co-op saying to level up the revenue on the last day of the month. Yes, it is the last day of the month, and last day of the month, Patreon, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. But it's Friday, so we do have to get to the fan questions, which are posted on the Patreon. Boom. And I know somebody got super mad at me the other day because they were like, I can't afford to be on the Patreon. I want you to answer my question. I'm like, it's the best way that I can curate this stuff. You know what I mean? It's the best it's the best way that I can curate it. I don't know. Maybe there's a better way, but I don't know of any other way that you could like post pictures and long form comment kind of stuff. Like you could literally post a really long comment on there, and we go through those just the same and stuff like that. So I don't know. It just seems to be the best thing that we got, right? Last week, Dave's Plantification sent in this great picture. I love it. Tank looking good. I like that. I like the kind of dark areas in this tank. It's pretty dope. I don't know what size it is, but it looks sizable. Although maybe it's like, maybe it's not. Maybe it's a secret. Secret size tank. I like it. But as you guys know, Johan is always sending in some awesome Fish of the Week posts. This one happens to be a black arowana. And I'm not going to try and read the Latin version out because, you know, I'm going to mess it up. But also known as the water monkey because they can jump out of the water and capture their prey, which, yes, that is one thing. If you do get an arowana, just remember you need big, heavy glass tops or plexiglass, whatever you want to make the tops out of. You got to make sure that these these fish can't jump out. I have been... Well, I was never really an owner. I was more like a caretaker of arowanas and stuff like that. And I've definitely seen them jump... I've definitely seen them jump out of tanks and die and stuff like that. And so make sure to keep them covered. And he says, although it has been known to eat larger prey like small bats and small monkeys. Whoosh. That is true. Like the really big arowana will get a hold of just about anything it can get its mouth on. And they're a pretty aggressive fish. They're 100% predatorial, and I think that they're really cool. But personally, for me, they're just, like I said, I've taken care of really big ones and stuff, and it's not something I look forward to. It would be like saying I'm excited for poopy diapers. You know what I mean? Like it's just the kind of a parallel. It's kind of a parallel to me. Like I'm excited for our daughter. But I'm just not excited necessarily for certain parts of taking care of our infant daughter. I look forward to the time when she's potty trained, you know what I mean? And then we can go mountain climbing and stuff like that and, you know, check out shrimps and rivers and things. You know what I mean? Vexing Cat says, a lot of people, a lot of questions. Folks need to queue up and wait in line, make a few friends along the way. Oh, well, that's kind of reality. Yeah, I mean, it's just... You know, there's just a lot of people, you know, so it gets confusing, but I feel like the Patreon is the best way to organize this kind of stuff. But Derek wrote in with a Candy Darter story. This is local to my area in the mountains of Virginia. The news anchor, John Carlin, is very active in the fish hobby, and his family has an aquarium business. I didn't know this fish existed before today. Yes, the Candy Darter is a really interesting fish. If you happen to pop on here, you can click this hot link and go check out the story. It's a really cool kind of story, and it's great to see like regular news covering some of this stuff. You know, I think a lot of us are getting super tired of the news. Getting super tired of the news, you know, certain things they talk about on there a lot, and it is good to see that they're still upholding their end of the let's keep the environment in mind sort of mindset kind of thing, you know. So it's a good one to see. I'm not going to click on that because I have no rights to be showing that news story on here. Let's see. We have a question from Patrick Moray. I'm probably saying your name wrong, and I'm apologizing ahead of time. You know. It says, howdy, y'all. Rookie question, but if I have an RO unit but no DI, will that still work for Caridina? Did not know which part of the filter, or if it's both, that gets the water down to 0 TDS. What the? There's like a weird little fly in here. What the heck was that? I don't know. That was weird. All right. So I'll give you a quick explanation of the 4 parts of a RODI unit. The reverse osmosis is what the RO stands for. Then there's a particulate filter in there. There's essentially a charcoal filter in there. And then the DI, which is the deionizing portion of it. The reverse osmosis portion is essentially a membrane that will stop most everything from going through. And that's where your wastewater comes from. It's essentially a membrane that the water pressure is pushing against, and it's pushing the water molecules through. It's not perfect, and it does waste a lot of water. Oh my gatos! What's going on? Hello? Hello? Oh, lordy. It's the Amazon guy. Biddy Brown! Shut up! Sorry. We had the Amazon, or somebody dropped off a package. I think it looks like Vicky work stuff. So I'm not going to go grab it because it's probably just a box full of tons of paper. And I hurt my back yesterday, you guys, so I don't really feel like going to lift it up during the show. I'll do it after the show. It'll be fine. I think it'll work. But anyhow, so the reverse osmosis portion is essentially a membrane that the water's pressure is hitting, and then it's going to send off the wastewater. I find that portion to be essentially useless in my neck of the woods where I live, because my water here is really, really clean. The biggest part that the RO is doing is it's kicking out salts and things that you know, are typically do show up in a lot of people's water supply. That rarely ever happens here. The essentially cleaning part of that filter is the deionization, because the deionization is going to grab molecules as it goes by, the molecules that you don't want. That's what's going to grab it. Now, the deionization portion, is the most expensive part of the whole system to change the filter out. I don't utilize the RO because I don't want to deal with wastewater all the time. I have really clean water, so I don't necessarily need the RO to get down to 0 and it still be cost effective for me. So I've eliminated that, and I don't have the wastewater. And then it's more often than not is what in plumbing is called a push filter. So it's like if you had a filter on your house, that's how my filters work. Like water goes in it, it gets filtered and comes out. There's no waste from it at all. And it definitely works really, really well here. Now, if you're somebody who has a really, really high TDS, so you're going to have to test your water straight out the tap, find out what's going on with your water. If you have a really high TDS, that just means total dissolved solids. Now, one of the things that I hear from a lot of people out there these days is they go, I'm trying to get my TDS to 200. And I go, well, what of it that you, what do you want it to make up? What do you want the makeup of the total dissolved solids to be? You know, because the total dissolved, the TDS that could be in there could be olive oil or, you know, mercury or sulfur, you know. So we need to make sure we know what the TDS is to a certain degree, or just eliminate it down to 0. That's the whole reason for making RODI water, is that we want to make sure that things that are really sensitive to the water, and things that could be in the water, maybe there's a little bit of arsenic in there and it's just enough to kill a bunch of shrimp, right? But your fish would be fine. Like the fish wouldn't ever be affected by it. But really sensitive creatures, you want to get down to 0 TDS because you know, oh, I filtered everything out. It definitely gets confusing to people because the TDS meters themselves are only testing the conductivity of water. So there's 2 electrodes that are in there, and it's just measuring the resistance from this electrode to this electrode, right? That's all that those meters are testing. That's it. It's not going to tell you what it is. Water is pretty much not a great conductor of electricity. So as more metals and things are dissolved into the water, salts, all that kind of stuff, it will increase the conductivity of the water, right? And so that's the reading that the little reader is giving you. That's why they only cost like $13, because they're not really doing anything. They're just sending an electrical charge from one thing to the other and then reading the resistance, right? So it's not going to tell you exactly what's in the water, but if you do if you do measure the TDS and you know that, like, oh, well, you know, I have giant Mabuna cichlids, they're probably going to be fine with 50 regardless of whatever is going to be in there. You're probably going to add a bunch of salts and do a bunch of stuff anyhow if you got like really big cichlids. But if you have Caridina shrimp, you'd be like, oh man, I've got these crystal shrimp. They're an awesome line, and I just want to make sure I can do everything that I can. It's that you take that water all the way down to 0 TDS and then add in the additives that you want. So if that's confusing, it's sort of like just starting out with a clean slate. So you think of it this way in relation to a painting, right? I could paint directly onto canvas, right? But canvas has this sort of off-white color to it. Sometimes it's even darker than off-white and almost has a wood tone to it, like a white wood or something. And paint will adhere to it and all that kind of stuff, but I wouldn't be starting out necessarily with the blank slate of the white. So we use gesso, and gesso comes in many colors. You can do black, gray, brown, whatever. You can start out with whatever color you want, but we start out with a clean slate where we have fully adhered paint to everything, so it sticks really well, and we have a clean slate that's nice and whatever color we want to start out with. And so it's the similarity is to that, with very sensitive fish or very sensitive critters and stuff like that. You just want to start out with a clean slate and know what you're adding, and then you can test the TDS from there and go, oh, okay, I'm up to 180, but I know what it is because that's what I added to the water, right? So it will dispel any confusion. But I don't find that the RO portion is necessary with my super nice Western Washington water here. If I ever do move somewhere, I'll definitely run you guys through all of the having to deal with all that, right? All right. Rebecca M. sent in, staghorn algae. Has anyone used Easy Carbon from Aquarium Co-op to treat algae rather than Seachem XL? I can't remove all of the staghorn algae manually, so I wanted to try the glutaraldehyde. Which, yeah, glutaraldehyde is pretty much the one way to go. Thus far, overdosing for 5 days and haven't seen any damage to the algae. I may switch back to peroxide, but I so want this to work. Now, honestly, I've tried the Easy Carbon from Aquarium Co-op, and I'm not sure the difference between the two because I do not make either of these products. You know, I'm not in charge of producing Seachem stuff. I'm not in charge of producing Aquarium Co-op stuff. I don't know. But just as a simple hobbyist, I've tried both, and I have found Seachem XL to actually work a lot better as a treatment for the overdosing and eliminating algae for it to get it to turn red and then die off. You know, the Seachem's version, for whatever reason, maybe it's got a bunch of vitamin C or something in it. I'm not sure, but it just works better for this application. I have found it to work better that way, and I don't know. I mean, either product is not intended to be used this way, so it'd be hard to, like, ask anybody and be like, what's the difference between this and that? You know, it's like, I don't think Seachem will actually give me the recipe of what they're making. You know, I don't think that they would do that, and I don't think that Corey would either. It would just be weird that be like, hey man, what's the recipe, bruh? Tell me what it is. I'm gonna compare it with this other mysterious recipe that may or may not be accurate. I don't know. But there might be somebody out there that knows the specific. I'm not the guy, but I would say that for this application, the Seachem's version works better. But as far as just a carbon supplement, I find them to both work just about the same. Excuse me. Alyssa Bentley said in an awesome little macro shot of the shrimp action. Somehow got my phone to focus really well on one of the nearly very solid black Neocaridina shrimps. Pretty happy with it. Though I wish he wasn't kicking up crumbs while I was sitting there with my nose pressed to the glass ready to snap pictures. Yes, that is the nature of the difficulty of just trying to take pictures of anything, you know what I mean? Like any kind of critter out there causing problems. It's a reality. It's just difficult to take macro pictures of anything. But this actually is, to be honest with you, it's a great picture, especially from seeing that from a cell phone. As you guys know, I spent all my money on a a macro-specific lens for my camera, which has been producing good and bad things. To be honest with you, it works fantastically to shoot things not underwater. It works kind of 50-50 to shoot things underwater. Like, I'm happy with some of it. I'm unhappy with some others. But I'm definitely enjoying using it. I love doing the macro photography. That is super fun to me, to be able to, like, get way in there and get up close and personal. Someday I'll get that fancy lens I was planning on, but that never happened. I don't know. I'll have to buy a lottery ticket or something and see if we can pull that off. Oh, Johan, we've got 2 fish of the week. How do we have 2 fish of the week? Am I, like, that far behind? Oh, that's right. I was in Europe. So, yes, we're running through these. The waspfish. The waspfish is a stealthy predator that feeds on various small fish and invertebrates. Also, in common with other waspfish, it is equipped with venomous spines, which, by the way, was always the big pain whenever I had to deal with these guys. And depressifrons is a Eurohaline species, so may be found in saltwater, brackish water, and freshwater environments. It's actually, to be honest with you, I've always found these to be really interesting, and I've never kept them myself. Like I said, I had to take care of some at certain points in time in my whatever. But you guys see me stumble over, like, Latin pronunciations. I never say them out loud, and then I realize when I'm on the show, I'm like, why haven't I practiced this ahead of time? It makes for a real smooth show. It makes for a real good show, you know, when I'm like, oh, wait. Silence for 8 seconds while I make this face and wonder if I got enough sleep last night, right? Makes a really good show, I think. I think it works pretty good. But Johan always showing up and dropping down some awesome fish. But the waspfish, yeah, if you got a setup for them, highly encourage these fish. If you go find them, that's always going to be the problem. They're going to be hard to find, in my experience. I don't know. Maybe there's somebody in Tennessee that's like, man, they're everywhere out here. It's possible. I don't know. Aquarium Connection sent in, I know this is not fish related, just wanting to let you know I can get you free trips to fish conferences for $47 at lifetime. Also hotels for $20 a night. Wanted to help you out. Oh, I forgot, 3,500 destinations worldwide. I have no idea what this is. I don't know what this is about. I read it out loud, and I'm going to move on because I don't know what that is. And, you know, considering I know how much it was to go to Germany, hosted by Dennerle, I don't know how $47 for a lifetime makes sense. That doesn't make any sense to me. So I don't know what that's about. Am I endorsing it? I don't know. I don't even know what it is. What was that? Hello? There's probably a ghost in here trying to bite my face or something. Oh, we got a big post here from Dominique. Dominique! This hello group here in Canada. It's really near the end of the summer. The nights are long and getting colder. Have 30-gallon tote on my balcony with some guppies inside. I was planning on taking it apart for autumn, but changed my mind and wanted to do a small aquaponics setting inside my apartment. As you can see in the photo, I currently have a little overtank sump with some mint and basil inside of it, in some net pot and clay ball. Now, down here is the question. Saying, so my question for you is this: what material should I use for the rack? Initially, I was thinking wood, but with water, I think it was not that good of an idea, considering I really don't plan to paint it. Maybe some PVC pipe glued together. What do you think? So honestly, the possibilities are endless for however you want to build this rack. Personally, if you want to save a bunch of money, I'd probably go somewhere that like second use or something like that, and find something that's made out of metal, possibly. PVC pipe would work great as long as you can build it big enough and sturdy enough to hold all this stuff up. I don't know that it would look great, but it might not look that bad. You could probably paint up the PVC and make it to hold everything up and in place and that kind of stuff. This is the kind of stuff I would definitely encourage people to get into. You know, this is a little tote here and a little tote here, some plumbing and some ingenuity. This is the kind of I've been criticized a few times because I've been critical of people advising DIY on everything all the time, constantly, never-endingly, and you know, I've been criticized because I'm like, you know, there's a bunch of stuff you don't want to DIY, but this right here is a perfect example of something that you do want to DIY. You know, start working with this. You know, you can probably get a lot of the parts and be creative with what you're making, and you're also not running the risk of a super huge disaster if you're, especially if you're outside. I mean, you know, the worst thing that could happen is it leaks or something and water gets on the ground outside, and as we know, living on the earth, that happens quite a bit, and it's nothing to write home about. So but this is a perfect opportunity to get a little experience in some building stuff and that kind of thing, and see what you're looking forward to if you wanted to maybe buy a more expensive system down the road or build a more expensive system down the road. It's really a great way to get into this kind of stuff. You know, I just honestly think I think a lot of people jump into like building tanks and like try to build their own crazy filter and stuff like that, and can definitely run into problems. Eric Ruiz throwing down a super chat saying, do you know anywhere I can get some rice fish? To be honest with you, the only place I know where I can get some rice fish is from Corey from Aquarium Co-op. That's the only place I know off the top of my head. I don't know if he has them in store, but I do know that he has some, and I could probably hit him up if I wanted some, but I think they're really cool fish. I just don't have anywhere to put them, so it would be weird to be like, hey man, yo, could I get a couple rice fish? And they'd be like, cool, and then I'd bring them home and be like, wait a minute, whoops. You know, but that's the one place I know of, and I don't really know where else. I don't think that they're that uncommon. You could always go on Aquabid, or you could always go to your local store and see if they can't order them in at some point. That always seems to be the best route as far as I'm concerned, in my experience. I know a lot of people have had great stuff happen for them going through Aquabid. It's great, but my personal favorite way to go about doing something is to go to my local fish store, talk to the fish purchaser that is there, like whoever places the orders and stuff, and you can be like, hey, do I need to, you know, put a deposit down or anything like that to get you to order the certain type of fish I'm looking for? Do I need to buy them ahead of time? I normally would go 50-50. I would be like, oh, if you guys are going to charge $8 a piece, you know, I'll give you $4 each, so you guys can order them in and make sure that they're healthy enough, they do well, they convert, the shipping, everything went fine. That's the way that I have gone about it, certainly in the past, to find a specific fish. That's the way I've gone about it. But Dominique, I am excited to hear about the progress on this. Anybody that's growing food out of their fish tanks, that's awesome, even if it is just mint. And what else was in there? It's hard to tell from the picture. I think it's mint and basil. I think there's basil in the back there. Is that what it is? I don't know, but either way, I love seeing aquaponic trays and, gosh, anything going like that. Even if it's just pothos, you guys. I love seeing that stuff. I love it. Johan, this is the fish of this week. Oh, man, we got 3 awesome fish in one show? Whew. Oh. The awesome fish of the week here is the blue peacock bass, native to Colombia, Venezuela, Guyana, and Brazil. I will tell you something about the peacock bass. Very entertaining. Only have hardscape in the tank and be prepared to feed like crazy. They are super fast growing. They're a super entertaining fish. Not for me, not personally for me. That's why I like seeing these monster fish things, because this isn't something that hits my head, you know, on a daily basis, because I don't normally think about things like peacock bass in my tanks, because as you guys know, I like the little guys. I like the little shrimp. I like the little fish. I like all the little plants, and that's the thing that gets me all zazzed, you know what I mean? even in even in my reef tank, I like all the little guys. Like I'm going to rehome my tang and that stuff because I just want to have all the little guys in there that are having a great time. And you guys know that's my thing, and I love that Johan sends these in because it definitely gives us an opportunity to think like, oh man, there's a bunch of other fish I haven't like thought about at all this week, you know. So much appreciated. And Haley from Oddball Aquatics sent in, this is crazy. The chimera axolotl, which is nuts. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this before. I've seen pictures of this. I've never got to see one in person. To see a chimera axolotl, that is pretty rare. I mean, I've seen a lot of axolotls in my day, and I've never seen one like this. This is really cool. She says that saw this at the Midwest Reptile Expo and about lost my mind, which I probably would have lost my mind too. Like, axolotls are just so weird anyhow. Excuse me. Axolotls are just so weird anyhow, and then you throw this on top. You know, it's like... But as she continues on, 'twas not for sale, unfortunately, so I snapped a picture to show you all. Hashtag oddball awesome. Yeah, I personally, I'm kind of glad that it's not for sale because I think everybody would be super discouraged to find out how much this thing would actually cost if you were going to try and purchase this I almost said fish. It's not fish. This creature. I can't remember exactly what the family they fall into. They're like salamanders, I think, or something like that. I don't know. I'm no expert. I am no expert in axolotls, you guys, and I 100% admit that. Like I said, I've seen a million of them. I dig them. I think they're pretty cool, but I just have never busted into the deep dive research with them. So I'm not that great. And you can, even if you ask me care, I'd be like, oh well, you know, you just got to take care of them. Right? But I do love looking at them. So, but yeah, this is totally cool, and I would 100% appreciate that myself also. Leslie, with our last little post of the day on this Friday from the fan posts here, says the 40-gallon breeder is coming along, still fighting that blackbeard algae. Oh... Well, I understand. As you guys know, I fight blackbeard algae sometimes too. Just keep up with your water changes. I will say, one of the high-ups at Dennerley actually told me, just to quote him, he threw a good comment out there where he was like, yeah, you know, the aquariums, it's either the algae's going to win and the plants are going to win, or the plants are going to win. Either the algae's going to win or the plants are going to win, and we want the plants to win. So whatever we can do to help the plants win, once they start winning, there ain't no chance for no stinking algae, right? So if you keep up on your water changes, make sure you're fertilizing properly. You know, don't want to go over. You also don't want to go under either. Make sure your light cycles are going properly. Make sure your tank is actually cycled also. And not overloaded and all that kind of stuff. Yes, there are a few things to take into account, but this is definitely something that once you've worked, this is something that when you've worked on planet tanks for a long time, it becomes second nature to you, and then you start to realize like, oh man, I've got a little bit of you know, algae going here or whatever. It's like, oh no, I missed my water change. I missed my water change last week, or wait a minute, I forgot to add my fertilizers, and you know, that kind of stuff happens from time to time. And don't be discouraged by it because the plants can always, you know, be encouraged to win out properly, you know. Joel G., our local New Zealander here, says, whoa, I'm in September and y'all are in August. Well, as we know, New Zealand is a land of the future. As we all know here, there's a land of the future, and that is New Zealand. I was going to say they must be getting ready to shear their sheep, but that's 6 months from now, because they're starting to come out. What is it? Did you guys just come out of winter? Or are you going into winter? What's happening? So what is it right now? So it's summer here, and it's about to be fall. So it would be winter there and almost spring. Yeah. Right? Does that make sense? No. Wait. What is it, month 9? September's month 9. 1, 2, 3. So summer will kick off around Christmas, right? Like December 21st. Is that right? No, that's not right. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But either way, New Zealand is the land of the future. They're at least a day ahead of us and a couple seasons ahead, right? I think that's how it goes. I think that's how that works. Oh, okay. Well, we caught up. And just a reminder, you guys, thank you so much for everybody that patronizes. I know that not everybody can, but it's really what makes all this stuff possible. If I'm even able to show up here, even able to show up and just do the live show, it just wouldn't be possible. It just honestly wouldn't be possible without all you guys that are just super generous. It's super generous, honestly. You know, and it's big time. It's big time, you guys. Well, not to big time everybody out there. I got to go back to, yeah, there we go. The regular scene. And then guess what? We actually even have a video segment on a Friday. As you guys know that we don't normally have a video segment on a Friday. And we do this Friday. So how lucky are we? How lucky are we when we got a video on Friday? We're coming out on a Friday with video. We're coming out on a Friday with video. We're coming out on a Friday with video. What? Oh, am I online right now? Oh, we on the internet? I guess we're online. Watch out. Sometimes we gotta break into song because I just can't hold it back. I just can't hold back my terrible singing. Well, Vexing Cat with a $5 super chat saying, "Stop singing." I'm kidding. It says something for the chip jar. Thank you very much, Vexing Cat. Always appreciate the support, man. I don't even know what to tell you. I don't even know what to tell you. But either way, I want to catch up with the chat here a little bit and see if we missed some questions that may or may not be needing to be some answers. Be some answered, right? Looks like people are kind of helping each other out here, answering questions. That's looking pretty good. Let's see if I can... Excuse me. I don't know what it is. I think I was jackhammering and stuff all day yesterday, which is probably why my back is sore, and building some stuff. And I think it was also like a lot of breathing in a lot of dust, which is probably why I keep clearing my throat today. Let's see here. Oh, JH Aquatics says RO, a process by which a solvent passes through a porous membrane in the direction opposite to that for natural osmosis when subject to a hydrostatic pressure greater than the osmotic pressure. Yeah, that's what I said in layman's terms. Devin Pepper says, what shrimp are more beautiful and which would you recommend? Bloody Marys or painted fire reds? Which breed more true? I never understand people's street names. I know what fire reds are. I know what Bloody Marys are. They should breed the same. But they shouldn't breed any differently. Which shrimp are more beautiful? That's pretty much subject to the shrimp. Whichever one is kind of bred best is just going to look the best, you know. I wouldn't say that one street name shrimp is better than the other. So it really is subject to the actual shrimp itself, which reminds me of the shrimp contest. Yeah, shrimp contest brought to you by Dennerler. If you're going to be at the Aquatic Experience, I'm going to be there. You should be there too, and you'll see the process of being able... Sorry, I'm just making a joke about, you know, whatever could be considered an advertisement. But I'm going to be at that shrimp contest. I'm going to check out everybody's shrimp that's coming in. The Aquatic Experience would be a great spot to stop, look at a large variety of shrimps, see how they're judged, and that's probably going to be the best way to learn in person. Otherwise, I would definitely look up some shrimp books and some shrimp grading guides and stuff like that to try and figure out if you try to figure out you know, what you're looking at in person, that's going to be the best way to go about it. So if you could actually get a chance to look at them in person, then you'll be able to see how well what kind of good shape they're in, you know, if their coloring is correct, if their legs are all proper, if they're not, their backs aren't all out of shape, and all sorts of weird stuff that you could be looking for. Just make sure that they're proper, good, healthy shrimp, and you're going to be fine, honestly. Tabitha Holt says, Devin Peppers, I think clown killies are cool, but can't have them right now. Shrimp know when predators are around and don't breed. Well, that's not true at all. Shrimp are a food source in nature, and if the predators were around and the shrimp didn't breed, the predators would all die off, or the shrimp would all die off. Shrimp definitely breed when there's predatory fish around. Here's the issue: the tiny shrimps, they get eaten, you know, so that's what ends up happening. They're just breeding to produce food for that fish that is probably dining on them at night or something like that when you're not around and you don't really notice it. So if you have a couple of fish in a gigantic tank with a lot of shrimp, like I do in my 240, yeah, some of the baby shrimps get eaten. Some of them, I will assure you, some of them definitely get eaten, but there's a lot of hiding areas and stuff like that, and the natural breeding process, if you have a healthy environment, shrimp will breed 100%. They won't stop breeding. They'll just keep breeding like crazy. That's just what they do. It's kind of their thing. They eat and breed. That's pretty much it. Yeah, you can even have them to the point. You just don't want to have them with a predatory fish that will be able to eat the full-grown. The full-grown shrimp are going to be the consideration that you would want to take into play. Oftentimes, a full-grown shrimp can pretty readily escape most of our aquarium fish. You know, obviously, if you had like the peacock bass or something like that with them, the peacock bass or something like that, they would probably just disappear before you even noticed. Somebody just got banned. Oh man, what did they post? I don't even see that they posted anything. Whoa, the mod team is on it. The mod team is on it today. I don't know. I don't even see what they posted to get. That's weird. Whoa. That's very wild. Normally, I can at least see some comments or something from the people that get booted. Oh, that little fella had potty mouth? What happened? I didn't even see it. Aw. Man. That's alright, I guess. But I trust my mods. I just normally like mods from... Yeah, it's mods from the future. Greg Jones is right. It is mods from the future. Digging it. Oh. I didn't even get to see the comments. Oh, man. What a sad day. It must have been just going by so fast I didn't even get to read it. That's okay, though. But Kengley is here. Greg Jones is here. Oh, man. We got JH Aquatics is here. We got a bunch of HC Aqua. We've got a bunch of superstars in here. What's going on? Chad Krotz is here. Phil is here. Oh, my spouse is here. Oh, man. What a lovely Friday, you guys. I can't name everybody's name off, but it being a lovely Friday, I'm going to remind everybody it's time to go to the video. But before I go to the video, I want to tell you guys a quick story, and I don't want to ruin it for you. But my man, your man, everybody's man, the man of the people, Mr. Colby Jack from Aquarium Co-op, apparently was as jet-lagged as I was. And oops, I forgot to type this out. Was apparently as jet-lagged as I was and duplicated the Fluval Fresh and Plant 3.0, like the newer Fluval light, the LED. He apparently double ordered them or something. I'm not sure. There's a ton more there. So what he did is they're on sale, 14% off. And I posted the link right there in the chat. If you guys want to go get some Fluval lights, grab that link and use the code LIGHT. And head over there for 14% off those lights. I love those lights. I use them as much as I possibly can. They're great for plants. They're super adjustable. They have a Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, or they have the Bluetooth, blah, 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 all that kind of cool stuff. I dig those lights, whatever. I just want to let you guys know there is 14% off if you guys missed it. It's a good deal right now. Just to let you know. I don't know. If you don't want to buy them, you don't have to. I ain't hard selling you guys on nothing. I'm just saying if you want, it's on sale now, and it's on sale today. I don't know how long it lasts, though. Don't ask me. James Lyser says, $5 super chat. Everyone's here for the video portion. Oh, well, I'm trying to increase my engagement by not going to the video. Oh, what happened? Why are we on the video all of a sudden? Oh man, I had a super secret plan that I was just gonna tell you guys there was a video, and then there not be a video. Wait, there actually is a video. It's from Aquascaping today. Look at those rummy nose going wild in there. I know somebody commented a while ago that my rummy nose weren't fat enough. Look how fat and plump they are now. You know, I got them. They were skinny. I'll admit it. They're all fat and well-fed now, though. I'll tell you that. I haven't really seen any babies from the rummy nose, but I wouldn't know. This tank is so big, I wouldn't even really know what's going on. But the video portion here is about my little stargrass collection in the 240-gallon aquarium. This is a 240-gallon aquascape aquarium that is 8 feet long, 2 feet tall, and 2 feet front to back. Just to put it out there, because almost every time I post a video of this, somebody asks, so I'm just going to throw it out there ahead of time. Carpet bomb effect. Now, we've discussed this stargrass multiple times, and in the past I've mentioned to people that one of the issues that I have with this stargrass is it will eventually grow up too tall and start to turn kind of scuzzy looking, and it just looks terrible, and it kills out the stuff that grows below it, which, if you're like me, normally isn't a big deal, because I trim it, and I trim it, and I trim it, and I keep it short, and it's not normally a big deal. But when you're flying around to Europe, and you're flying around to wherever I went before that, Alaska, and you're flying around, and you're flying around, and you're flying around, these kind of neglect things start to pile up, and it actually did that little kind of bolt thing where it kind of bolts a little bit, and it went from, hey, totally cash right here, to blah, and went up tall, and now it's floppy and ugly and gross. and it begins the process of repairing the scape, which, honestly, with this plant, unless you're super, super, super involved with it constantly, right? You're going to have to do this about once a year. Maybe once a year, maybe once every 6 months. You're going to have to just pull out some big old clumps of it and replant the tops. You're just going to have to do it. It does take a little bit of time. It is a little bit annoying, and it's not going to look that great for the next couple weeks while it grows back. But guess what? It will rebound for sure. So it needs to be done. It's something that happens, and it's just something you're going to have to deal with and try and stay ahead of it, and you know, and just essentially do the best you can to, you know, do the maintenance on your tank that needs doing. There really is no secret. I don't really have any secrets. It's work. It just is a thing that's work. And I would look at it this way. If you're somebody that's a gardener, if you went out in the spring and just planted a bunch of stuff and then came back, if you came back like 3 months later and expected a perfectly groomed fancy garden, and you just found out that it was overrun with weeds and craziness, and then went like, what happened? That's the thing. We need some human intervention if we're going for something kind of specific, and this is one of those times where you just really have to intervene and do what you got to do. Pull some things out, you know, get some shrimp that are kind of pissed at you for messing with their house, but not that big of a deal. And you're just going to have to do it. It's just part of the gardening thing. It's like the weeding, you know. This is the Zen time. This is a Zen time where you guys, you know, you get to be quiet, get your sleeves wet, kind of dig around in your tank and figure out what you want to do. Maybe you want to move some plants around. Maybe you want to move them somewhere else. Maybe you want to start going for a different aesthetic or something like that. Now is the time to do it when the plants have kind of overgrown themselves out of the aesthetic that you're going for. You know, it's also one of those things that, like, many, many, many years ago, you know, 100 million years ago, whenever it was, you know, I was talking with Tom Barr, like, way back in the day, and I was like, man, what's the secret, dude? What's the secret, bro? And he's like, oh, I trim my plants and replant them. And I'm like, okay, yeah. What's the secret? And he's like, no, that's it. And I was like, oh, so you pretty much follow the pretty standard propagation tactics. He's like, yeah. You're like, oh, so you just practiced and got good. Oh, okay. You know, it's like if you talk to somebody who's an awesome guitar player and you're like, man, how'd you get so good? And they're like, oh, I just practiced every day for an hour for a really long time, and I got really good at it. You're like, oh, okay, cool. Did you go to the crossroads and sell your soul to the devil? They're like, nope, just practice the guitar every day, and then I got really good. And you're like, yeah, but did you win the lottery? You know what I mean? So this is just some of the work that needs to get done. And like I said, I've been out of town, and some of these things are a little bit neglected. That doesn't mean that the tank is unhealthy. It just means that ugliness and a little bit of algae and stuff like that are winning the battle currently. So human intervention, that's me, gets to get in there, do a little bit of work, and kind of straighten things out. But luckily, it's enjoyable work. You know, I mean, it's work that's pretty enjoyable. You know, you get to trim plants and replant things and dig around the substrate, and just generally stuff that I find to be fairly entertaining. It is work, and you know, you're leaned over a tank and, you know, just working. But like I said, I find it to be pretty enjoyable, so it's a good time as far as I'm concerned. Ed's Fish says, I need to get some tweezers. My Homer Simpson fingers suck at that. Yes, I highly recommend getting some tweezers. You can use that same link up there. It takes you to the Aquarium Co-op. He's got some pretty affordable ones there on his. He's got some really affordable ones on his site there, which I honestly think that they're pretty affordable for that. Or you could always let me see if I might have an Amazon link for him. Who is The straight ones are useless. Don't ever get the straight tweezers. Those are pointless. Where's my link? Where's my link? Where's my link? Do 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 do. Oh, here it is. Right. So to get this one, I have to copy it, bring it over here. And then there's an Amazon link if maybe you don't want to go to Aquarium Co-op. There's an Amazon link for some of the cooler, or some of the aquascaping tools that I have received in the past and utilized in the past and found them to be working fine. But yeah, if you guys want to go to the Coop and get some there, I think he has them pretty reasonably priced. And, you know, maybe you're one of those people that wants to go over there and get a sale light, and then you're like, oh, let me just throw those in and get those at the same time. It might be cool. Or whatever. Do whatever you like. I don't know. I don't know, man. Do whatever you like. Sorry, giving you a hard time. But yes, definitely do get some tweezers. Like I said, I find the straight ones to be utterly useless. I like the ones that have the little doot, like it's like a, I was going to say it's 45 degree, but it's a little more shallow than that. It might be like a 33 degree bend at the end of them. I found those to be quite useful and work out really well as far as I'm concerned. What is all this nonsense? What is this? Why is Amazon, what are you doing? What are you doing, Amazon? Stop harassing me. Oh, Amazon wants me to give her a review for something. Why do I have to do like Amazon's work for them? I don't get that, you guys. Like I buy stuff from Amazon and then they're like, "Hey, could you write a bunch of reviews about the stuff?" And you know, like, huh? I don't know about you guys, but I find that to be irritating when they send me a bunch of emails like, and they're like, "Hey man, you know that soap that you bought? How was that soap? Was it good? Did it wash the way that soap was supposed to wash?" And you're like, yeah. Oh, I'm supposed to write a really complex review about soap. I ran it under the water. It got lathered, and then I washed the dirt off with it. But I don't know. I digress. Sorry. I just got on an Amazon rant there. Whatever. They're fine. It's a good company. It saves me a lot of time utilizing Amazon because, like the other day, I ran out of mug soap for my shaving. You know, I used the brush in the mug. And so I bought a 5-pack for like $9 of the normal stuff that I buy, which is crazy because that's even cheaper than the store. Because the last time I bought 3 at the store, it was $11. And I had to drive there. So not only did it save me money, it even saved me money, but it also saved me time because I didn't have to drive somewhere. And I realized that I was having a conversation with somebody the other day where they were like, "Yeah, man, it's not that big of a deal. Just drive to the store, man. What are you, lazy?" And I'm like, no, it's not a lazy factor. It's that, you know, by the time you go get in your car, you know, you get out to your car, like maybe you warm up your car, you figure out which store you're going to go to, you drive over there. Maybe there's traffic, maybe there isn't, maybe you even just drive straight there. It's like that's 12 minutes, and then you're in the store for 6 minutes because you got to go find the thing, and then maybe you end up getting some Skittles or some gummy bears if you're me, and then, you know, then you get back out to your car, and then it's another 12 minutes back, and before you know it, like 45 minutes an hour has just blown right by, and then you're like, dude, I could have totally just clicked a couple buttons on the internet and then somebody would have brought it here. That's a big time saver for me. So I don't know. That's pretty much what I use it for. And stuff that needs warranties like camera lenses and stuff like that. I digress. I have no idea what I'm talking about right now. I'm going to answer some questions from the chat. Jeffro's fish keeping. What's up, Jeffro? Good to see you. I see Frank Dominguez. What's up, my man? And Kroger Marcus. Nice. Good to see you. Jeff Rose says, I got fish candy with my Northfin food order today and a handwritten note. Boom. Oh, I like that. I like to see that you get a handwritten note from those guys. That's totally cool. Mayhem's Tank says, shout out to everyone who still uses their fingers for planting. I often use my fingers for planting certain things or trimming things, like right there. Like I'll pull stuff out with my hands, and I use my hands quite a bit. But I often use the tongs for planting, as you guys know, as a chef, and oftentimes you use those tongs a lot in being a chef for plating and stuff like that. So it's not that uncommon to me to be able to be using those tongs and the little tweezers, tweezle-plazzles and stuff like that. Vexing Cat, what did Vexing Cat say? Vexing Cat says, I would be in bad shape without Amazon. It's a big help to shut-ins. I didn't consider that. I just always have a lot of stuff to do at home, so I feel like making the errand is just a huge waste of time, you know? Because it's super easy to, like, get out there and get stuck, like, in a traffic, or just some weirdo yelling in the street or something, like holding up cars or whatever. Like, that stuff happens for sure. And it's super easy to get, like, 2 hours burnt up because you had to go get toothpaste or something dumb. But yeah, for shut-ins, I would imagine that's probably helpful for you. Greg Jones is asking, favorite type of gummy bears. My favorite type of most commonly found gummy bears is the Haribos. Haribo, I hope I'm saying that right. I believe they're German, the Haribo Gold Bears. I think it's a German brand. When I was in Germany, they had them there, and they put them on the pillow instead of mints. They put a little package of gummy bears on the pillow instead of mints. You guys, that's pretty cool as far as I'm concerned. They pretty much hit it out of the park right there. There's another kind of gummy bears that I found recently that are quite good, and I cannot remember the name of them. I will have to show you guys the packaging sometime next week. But I realized that we've gotten completely to the point where I'm just talking about Amazon and all sorts of stuff, and that means that about 50 people left. Ed's Fish says, well, now I have to go to Germany. Haribo is German. You can actually just get them in the United States. They're super easy to find. I love those ones. And they have all my favorite flavors. That's one of the deals. The Haribo bears are really good. They have all the flavors. So they have the flavors that I like. Haribo flavors. Here we go. In the standard packaging is raspberry, orange, strawberry, pineapple, and lemon. Now that to me is perfect. Like, you don't have cherry in there, which, get out of here. Get cherry, and cherry flavored candy, you just throw it right in the garbage. It is not for me. I get it. Some people like it. It's not for me. Banana flavored candy, get out of here. That's disgusting. Sour apple I can deal with, but if you get sour apple instead of lemon or lime, you got a problem, right? You got a serious problem on your hands. Pineapple is perfect to throw in there. Strawberry instead of cherry is awesome, but you also get raspberry, which is my favorite, which is one of my favorite flavors of all time. I have no idea why I'm talking about this anyhow, but either way, that's where we're at in this world. It's Friday. We might as well talk about candy for a minute. But that's my favorite thing about the Haribo Gold Bears, is that 5-flavor combination is just awesome. Like, that's the, to me, I'm like, you got raspberry, you got strawberry, you got orange, you got lemon, and you got pineapple. Like, there you go. You have 5 flavors in a bag that I really like. And it works for me. It works really good. Andy Dick just popped on and said, we need to get 100 likes. We should get to 100 likes. Why not? We have to hit the like button and the subscribe and the share and all that craziness. I don't know how to make this show popular, so I'm just happy that you guys are here. You know what I mean? I'm supposed to say that we're supposed to hit the like and the share and the all that, and I don't know. I digress. I'm tired of having a popularity contest with everybody. If you like the thing, hit the like. If you don't, hit the dislike or hit nothing. I don't know. It's all good with me. It's Friday. I'm just happy to be here, and you guys are here too, and literally listen to me talk about the flavors of gummy bears, which is weird. Just Bob is here, says, hey, Joel, I got a question about Java moss. I love the look of it, but how do you keep it from overwhelming the tank and growing everywhere? There realistically is no way to stop it from overwhelming the tank. I mean, it's kind of what Java moss does. It's propagation. That's how it propagates. You know, it propagates the little pieces off the land behind something, and you don't ever notice it until you got a big giant ball of moss going on back there. But to be brutally honest with you, Java moss is one of those plants that you could 100% use as a profitable plant if you are growing it. Rarely do stores ever get Java moss that has been grown submerged. So if you're one of those people that is really good at growing Java moss, I would consider growing it into some independent tanks and selling it, because most of the stuff that comes from most of the stuff that's being imported is emergent grown, which means it's being grown above the water. It's not being grown below the water, so it doesn't convert very well. It doesn't do a great job when it comes over from over there, right? It comes in super green and awesome, and then you try to grow it underwater and it just goes brown and gets nasty, and it's a big disaster. So Java moss is one of those plants that I would recommend to most people sell, because there's always a market for it. There are always people wanting to buy Java moss. There are always stores wanting to get Java moss, and it's a great plant to grow for sure. Air Gunning Colorado says, what's a good carpet plant for a 20-inch by 20-inch by 14 tall? Something that grows fast but not too tall too quickly. Crypt Parva grows pretty slow. Does a great job. Dwarf Baby Tears would be awesome for you. Monte Carlo would be a good one. Glossostigma would be good. There's so many carpet. Dwarf Hairgrass, with a tank that shallow, I think it'd probably get a little algae ridden with the dwarf hairgrass and stuff like that. So I wouldn't go any of the little grasses, but you could go with some dwarf chainsword. That'd probably be pretty cool. With its a little wider leaves, it probably won't get hammered by the algae too badly. So that I would just stay away from the hairgrass personally. Ed's Fish says, I have a lump of Java moss in my tank that hasn't turned into a black ball of death yet. Still hoping. Yep. Sometimes sometimes when you're converting it, it works well, and sometimes it doesn't. Leslie's Fish says, some of my Java moss ended up attached to my manzanita wood and is now a yucky ball of brown yuck. Yep. That's unfortunate. Kroger Marcus says, secret for beautiful moss is perfectly polished water. I agree. Yep. HC Aqua's got to run, and I'm in that same boat. I got to run myself, you guys. I 100% appreciate y'all coming out today. I'm going to give a big shout out to all of the super chatters today, from James Leiser to Vexing Cat to Eric Ruiz, Chad Krotz, The Aquarium Co-op, M. Howie 9, and Patrick Kimbrell. Man, I almost got all of the names right until I got to Patrick's name, man. Patrick, I'm sorry. And hopefully I answered your question timely enough that you're able to grab it, and or you could watch the replay. If you came in at the end here, you could always watch the replay, share videos, and smash like army buttons, whatever. I don't know. It's the are you guys the army? Are you guys the smash like button army, right? Either way, I hope you guys have a fantastic Is it Labor Day? It's Labor Day weekend. I hope you have a fantastic Labor Day weekend. We're approaching the end of the summer, and that's excited. That's exciting. We'll be back for a live stream on Monday. If you are new to the channel, I will implore you, there are over 800 videos on here, so you could scroll through some of the popular ones or something like that, and hopefully maybe those will help you out with some stuff. In the meantime, I'll be back as a live stream on Monday, and hopefully a couple edited videos over the weekend or next week or something. I have no idea. But I love you guys. Later.